Have you ever wondered, if God already knows everything, why does he test us? Why ask Abraham to sacrifice his son? Why allow Job to suffer? Why put you through situations he already knows the outcome of? Is God trying to learn something? Or is he trying to show us something? Because if God is truly all-knowing, then testing seems unnecessary, maybe even unfair. So, what's really going on? Welcome to Sacred Questions, where we explore the deepest and most difficult questions about faith, God, and the Bible, honestly and thoughtfully. Today's question is one that has challenged believers and skeptics alike. Why does God test people if he already knows everything? If God is omniscient, meaning he knows the past, present, and future, then what's the purpose of any test at all? Now let's explore this profound mystery together. At first glance, this question creates a real tension. On one hand, the Bible clearly teaches that God knows everything. He knows our thoughts before we think them. He knows our choices before we make them. So logically, that leads to a question. If God already knows what, we'll do. Why put us through the experience? Take the story of Abraham. God tells him to sacrifice his son Isaac, a shocking command. Abraham obeys, and at the last moment, God stops him. Then God says something interesting. Now I know that you fear God. But wait, didn't God already know that? This is where the question becomes deeply philosophical. One of the most common theological responses is this: God's tests are not for him, they are for us. Think about it this way. There's a difference between knowing something intellectually and experiencing it in reality. You might believe you're patient until you're tested. You might think your faith is strong until life gets hard. Tests reveal what's already inside us, not because God is discovering it, but because we are. In the story of Abraham, the test didn't teach God anything new. It revealed Abraham's faith in action, making it real, visible, and complete. In other words, God doesn't test to gain information. He tests to form transformation. We often think of tests like school exams. You study, you take the test, and the teacher finds out what you know. But God's tests are different. They're less like exams and more like training. A better word might be refinement. Think of gold being purified in fire. The fire doesn't inform the gold. It transforms it. In the same way, trials and tests shape character. They build perseverance, humility, and trust. This is why the Bible often connects testing with growth. Faith that is tested becomes stronger. Character that is challenged becomes deeper. So maybe the question isn't, why does God test if he already knows? Maybe it's, what is God trying to build through the test? But let's be honest, this explanation doesn't remove all the difficulty, because some tests feel overwhelming, painful, confusing, even unfair. If God is loving, why allow tests that involve suffering? This is where many people struggle, and it's important not to dismiss that struggle. The story of Job is a powerful example. He loses everything: his wealth, his health, his family. And throughout the story, Job asks real, honest questions. Why is this happening to me? And interestingly, God doesn't give a simple answer. Instead, he reminds Job of something deeper, that human understanding is limited, and God's perspective is far bigger than ours. That may not feel satisfying, but it does point to a humbling truth. We don't always see the full picture. What if testing isn't about proving something to God, but about inviting us into something deeper with him? What if it's about trusting when we don't understand, choosing faith when it's difficult, growing into who we're meant to become? Because without challenges, faith would remain theoretical. Untested faith is often shallow faith, but tested faith becomes resilient, real, alive. So, here's a thought to sit with. Maybe God doesn't test you because he's unsure of you. Maybe he tests you because he sees something in you worth developing, not to break you, but to shape you, not to expose weakness, but to strengthen faith. And maybe, just maybe, the test you're going through right now isn't meaningless. It might be part of a bigger story you can't fully see yet. What do you think? Do you believe God tests people? And if so, why? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. If you enjoy exploring deep questions like this, make sure to subscribe to Sacred Questions and join us as we continue to wrestle with faith, doubt, and truth together. Because some questions don't weaken faith, they deepen it.